Societies is dedicated to preventing and reducing crime. Our primary purpose is to teach men or women how to make the minor adjustments that are necessary in their lives, which will allow them to obtain and maintain a productive lifestyle after incarceration and or rehabilitation. Our motto is anywhere but backwards. Everybody say anywhere but backwards. The words in that mission statement, it says to obtain, and the other one is maintain. Listen to me. To obtain means to come into the possession of something. Maintain means to keep it in existence. Listen. The reason why I say that, everybody say to obtain my sobriety is easy. Our challenge is to maintain it. Say to obtain our sobriety is easy. Our challenge is to maintain it. Welcome everyone to the Minor Adjustments Virtual Group. My name is Michael Mickey Williams Jr. As always, to obtain our sobriety is easy. Our challenge is to maintain it. Our motto is anywhere but backwards. No matter how many times I hear myself say the particular mission statement, I always encourage myself. More importantly, I'm always focused on, it says to attain my sobriety is easy. My challenge is to maintain it. So again, we're going to be going through the particular minor adjustments workbook. We're going to be going through this particular workbook, which is the student's workbook. And we're going to be digging into each week. We find a particular chapter. We're going to be talking about this week. We're going to be talking about you must have endurance. You must have endurance. So we're going to go through this particular workbook. I will put the link for anybody, because a lot of people be contacting me about getting the particular book that we're going through. So I'll put the link to the book where you can get this book in the comment section is in there. Also, previous lessons that we have done, I'm going to add the playlist from all the previous lessons we've done. I want to get it so you don't have to, because on our YouTube page, we have a lot of different things that we do. And I want to get you the playlist for the Minor Adjustments Virtual Group. And all of the previous lessons we have, you'll be able to go right straight to it. And that way you don't have to look for it. You'll be able to just get the playlist and tap right into it straight from there. All right. So I want to get that playlist to you. 1 second. Let me share this playlist to you. And then from there, you'll be able to I'll put the playlist in the comment section as well. And that way, because all of these lessons we've been going over there back to back, and you can go back and revisit it or share it with somebody else that might be struggling with needing deliverance, healing, substance use disorder, whatever terminology you would like to use, whatever sphere or realm you might be operating in. So today we're going to go over this. Don't forget to check out the website, minoradjustments.org website. You can also get things on the website it's a host of stuff on there, right? So today, as always, like I said, we're going to be talking about minor adjustments virtual lesson. You must have endurance. So let's preview what we just heard in the introduction video, which was the mission statement. Let's go back here. Let's pause, pause, and park and unpack this for a moment. It says minor adjustments mission statement. Minor adjustments is dedicated to preventing and reducing crimes. Our primary purpose is to teach men or women how to make the minor adjustments that are necessary for their lives, which will allow them to obtain and maintain a productive lifestyle after incarceration and or rehabilitation. Our motto is anywhere but backwards. I was talking to a brother today, and we were talking about, he told me how those 3 words are powerful, but so profound. There are 3 words, anywhere but backwards, right? If you lock in on those 3 words, it's possible for you to go so far that you'll be even surprised that you ended up where God wanted you to be. So when these 2 in this mission statement where it says to obtain and maintain, The words, the reason why the words are big like that is because I want you to understand, to attain something. Let me look at page 6. To attain something means to come into the possession of something. To maintain something means to keep it in existence. For instance, in 2009, for those who do not know, that for 22 years of my life, I struggled with crack cocaine and heroin. However, since August 2009, when I was delivered from that same situation, I did not have to go get my sobriety or my deliverance in August 2010. I simply had to learn what I needed to learn to maintain my sobriety. Because to obtain means to come into the possession of something, meaning I got it. To maintain means to keep something in existence. Every individual has to develop certain things in their lives that helps them maintain their sobriety or help them maintain or walk in their deliverance. Me, I built my spiritual foundation. I surrounded myself with a recovery support network, a business support network, a family support network. I developed my coping skills. I developed some life skills. I did all of this that was built on my foundation of my spiritual development. However, all of it was geared toward, put in the box of helping me maintain what I had already obtained. So in the mission statement where you see to obtain and maintain a productive lifestyle after incarceration and or rehabilitation, I learned about me. I studied myself, no one else. I learned that it was years because I went to rehabs multiple times. I went to prison multiple times. And every time when I went into these places, I was able to stop using the substance. So then something came to me. I said, wait a minute. I don't actually have a problem stopping using drugs. I have a problem staying off of it because stopping was easy. I go to jail, I stop. I go to rehab, I stop. So I realized to obtain my sobriety was the easy part. The challenge was, how do I maintain the sobriety that I had obtained? And I'm telling you this because it's the same way in your particular life. You might have stopped something multiple times. You might have made a declaration, or you might have came up with something January 1st. I'm going to stop this, only to resort back to what you used to do. The problem is not you obtaining it. The problem is maintaining it. So when you develop your spiritual development or whatever you need to develop to maintain it, this is why the Minor Adjustments Program was birthed, to help individuals maintain what they had already obtained. I hope you understand that as we're going through this particular book. All right. So let's go to our lesson. Let me get to the lesson where we need to be at, and then we'll move forward. So again, remember, the mission statement is very important. However, to obtain something means to come into the possession of something. To maintain something means to keep that which you came into possession of in existence. And a lot of times individuals probably don't realize that, but that's exactly what we have to do. We have to maintain what we have obtained. All right. So let's look at it. Every lesson, I always have what's called an expectation. An expectation. All right. Also, if you would like to be a minor adjustments facilitator, let me pull over, pause, and park right here for a moment, because I want minor adjustments to spread worldwide. I now created an online course where you can take the minor adjustments facilitators course. Once you take the course and get to the end of the course, you'll see all the things that you need to do in order to have this particular program established at your facility. All right. So watch this. All right. We're going to look at that. I'll put the link to that as well before we close out. Let's go into the lesson. My expectation for this lesson will, everyone will realize that distractions is not the battle. Woo! Distraction is not the battle. You got to understand. I'm going to elaborate on that because a lot of times we don't realize it, but we keep fighting something that's actually not the battle. So we'll go into that, okay? Listen, so we're talking about you must have endurance. It says, rising to the challenge, reveal hidden abilities within you that are otherwise would have remained dormant. Until you have to cope with adversities, you don't know what you're capable of. Wise people like you and I have to always understand the connection between, watch this, suffering and growth. When there is something great inside of a man or a woman, there will be obstacles in their path, good God, that are designed to stimulate their minds, harden their natures, and harden their natures and improve wherever they may be incompetent. All great people like you and I must have what's called endurance. You must have endurance. You must have endurance. Well, now remember my expectation. This is very important that you have endurance, because you're going to come across a part in your recovery walk or whatever type of walk that you're on. You're going to come across some obstacles. I can guarantee it. You'll come across some obstacles, especially when you're trying to do right. Listen to me. Every time I was doing wrong, I seen like I ain't had no types of obstacles. The only obstacle I had was who I was going to get the drugs from. That was it. But other times, watch this, when you're trying to do right, you're going to have obstacles. But let me get back to this distractions. Remember, my expectation was everyone will learn what they need to learn while they're in their development stage, okay? While they're in their development stage. Let me explain. Distractions is not the battle. The battle is, can you stay focused despite the distraction? Let me use my own personal life, because I've only been me. When I first started, a couple of times when I started to get myself together, far as not using substances, I would go to recovery support meetings, NA to name the name of the meeting. And when I would leave the meeting, I would be walking home. While I'm walking home, watch this, I will find bags of crack cocaine. I'm literally talking about a bag full of bags, like somebody was selling it and they stashed it. And I found the stash while I was walking home. Now, while I'm walking home and I found this bag of all these drugs, obviously I was going to relapse immediately. And sure enough, I relapsed. But watch this. I will go to rehab or go to these meetings again. And sure, if my name is Michael, I would walk down another street. Obviously, it was a drug infested area. And I would find more drugs. And there I go again. I would pick the drugs up, go home, go in the basement, get high, bam, I relapse. I got to start all over again. I said all that to say this. Those were distractions, but the distraction was actually not the battle. The battle was, could I stay focused despite the distractions? So now in this particular time, I have gone on 15 years removed. And there have been times when I was walking before I had my driver's license. I will be walking down the streets, and then I got a bicycle. Then I will get a car from my wife. Then I started driving on my own. But stay with me. When I used to walk down the streets from work, I would find things, or I would see things on the ground that look like drugs. But watch this. That was the distraction. But this time, I didn't pick it up. Oh, y'all not listening to me. Because the distraction is not the battle. The battle is, can you stay focused despite the distraction? The distractions are going to come. Ultimately, the only reason the distraction came is to get you away from something you have been doing well. Woo! Let me give you a round of applause. Listen to me. I'm gonna say it again. The distraction is actually not the battle. The battle is, can you stay focused despite the distraction? Because ultimately, the distraction only came because it's want to get you away from something you have been doing well. So if you're faced with some obstacles, if you're faced with some distractions in your life today, and you're trying to be right, and you're trying to walk in your recovery, you're trying to stay away from committing crime or whatever you're trying to stay away from, if you're faced with some distractions, I have told you today that the distractions is not the battle. The battle is, can you stay focused despite the distractions? Because ultimately, the distraction only came to get you away from something you have been doing well. I hope I broke that down to a point where you can understand. You're going to have obstacles in your path. You're going to have distractions, but the distractions going to always come. The same thing that came in my path this time, I didn't pick it up. The mistake I made was picking it up. It was not a shock that I went to go get high with what I picked up. The battle was, could I stay focused? I was leaving work, going home, leaving the program, going home, but I never could stay focused despite the distraction. And this is why I'm teaching on you must have endurance. Endurance is the ability or the strength to continue or last despite fatigue, especially despite fatigue or stress or other adverse conditions. So you must have endurance. When I'm telling you, you must have endurance, is because you're going to face some stuff. You're going to come across some stuff and it's going to be in your path, but you must have an endurance. Endurance is the ability or the strength to continue or last. The ability to continue or last. Can you stay focused? Do you have endurance? You must have endurance. This is not something that one of the minor adjustments chapters. This is a powerful one. All of them are powerful, but you must have endurance because you're going to be faced with a lot of stuff. Everything that I teach in the minor adjustment program are literally things that I learned in my own recovery walk, and I use it as I use it today, as I did when I first realized it years ago. So now I talked about the 22 years of struggling with crack cocaine and heroin. But as of this day, June 20th, what's the day? June 20th, 2024, I'm a certified drug and alcohol counselor. And I'm telling you that is because I had distractions along the way. I had obstacles along the way. But if I wasn't able to remain focused, if I wasn't able to endure through some difficult things, I would never have walked in being a drug and alcohol counselor. I'm saying all that to tell you this. You might not end up being a recovery coach, an author, or you might not even be a drug and alcohol counselor. It's possible, but whatever path you're on, I want you to understand that whatever distraction comes, remember, the distraction is not your battle. The battle is, can you stay focused despite the distractions? Because ultimately, distractions only come because you was doing something right. You might have distraction with women. You might have distraction with men. You might have distraction with lack of finances. You might have distraction in figuring out how I'm going to pay off all this child support. You're going to have all types of distractions. I'm only naming a few, but you will have these distractions. But the thing is, are you going to let the distraction make you go, watch our word, anywhere but backwards? Or are you going to allow the distraction not to move you off the course? In order for you to stay on course, listen to the lesson. You must have endurance. You must have endurance. Let's see what we got here. This is some good stuff, man. Watch this. Let's look at, okay, who or what stimulates your minds? Who or what stimulates your mind? This is important. All drugs work in the reward center of the brain, which is called the frontal cortex. That's the place where it seeks a reward. So whatever stimulates your mind, anything can stimulate your mind. It could be money, sex, food, whatever stimulates your mind. You want to find out whatever you do the most is you're going to be a product of whatever you think about or do the most. It will prove out every time. Whatever I do the most or whatever I think about the most will be exactly what I see into my life. Now, this is good. Listen to me. It doesn't mean about the things you might mess up along the way, right? Because you won't have those same mess up every day. If you following your plan, your purpose, and you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you have some bumps in the road, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what stimulates your mind. That was a bump in the road and you get up and keep it moving. You must have endurance. Whatever stimulates your mind, right? You need to find out who or what stimulates your mind. Me, I like to do a lot of reading. I like to do studying. I like to challenge myself. I like to learn about myself. Even when I miss the mark, fall, stumble, or whatever, I always get back up and I say, I got to be better. How can I be a better person today? How can I learn from the mistakes that I made yesterday? How can I do better going forward? And always, I taught it previous lesson, your mistakes have to become your mentors. The proof that your mistakes have become your mentors is you won't repeat them. Man, this is good, man. I'm having a ball here. Let's look what we got. What have you had to endure through? See, and in the book, all these questions are something where you have to write down. See, all of these things you see written down in my book is actually what I wrote down for myself, and some of them I didn't even fill in yet. But what have you had to endure through? All change is difficult. That's why you must endure. You see how I wrote that down there? What have you had? All change is difficult. So no matter what you had to endure through, all change is difficult. In our lives, we change a lot of times. We went from having hair to having no hair. We went from seeing to needing glasses. Watch this. We went from bending down and not making noise to bending down just to tie a shoe and hear all types of noise come out of our mouth. All change is difficult. That's why you must endure. So even though all change is difficult, we still need to endure through the process. I want to give you a good compliment right here. If you have any days removed from the substance that you used to do, then you have endured through something. Now, you might not think it's a big deal, but whatever got you past that one day is sufficient to get you farther. However, you must use those days to step on each other. And the more you step on each other, you go from 1 days to 15 years. And I learned that the hard way because my mentor told me, he says, Michael, if you stop going back, you will be at 15 years by now. But since you keep going back, you taking 4 steps back, 1 step at a time, 5 steps back, another step. He said, if you stop going back, this is not just me. You all change. Remember, all change is difficult. And I want you to understand another thing about change. For 22 years of my life, I keep repeating this, I struggled with crack cocaine and heroin and committing all types of crime. And I grew up in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and this is all I did, right? Change is so difficult because I was doing that longer than I was doing anything. Because I started from age 16 to the age of 38. If I was 16 and I did it to 38, that means I was doing it longer than I was not doing it. So I had to get accustomed to living a lifestyle that I actually didn't know what it was. Because if you think about the age, I started at 16 to 38. So between the age of being born to 15, how much did I really know? I didn't really know anything. So you got to understand, give yourself some credit here. If you're starting the process of change, don't beat yourself up because you should be farther down the road. We all should have been farther down the road, but we didn't. That's not our story. We're here now. We're making minor adjustments now. And if we make the minor adjustments, the number one adjustment we have to make is we can't go backward. If we don't go backward and we go from right now, I promise, Lord, I'll guarantee it that your life will be so much better from this point forward if you don't go back starting now. No matter, you might have in your mind, you wasn't really convinced about if you really was going to do it the right way. But I'm glad you're listening to me now. And I hope whoever watched this video later gets this message. If you start now and don't go back and totally commit yourself to being 100% dedicated to you living a better life, I guarantee you it will blow your mind where you will end up. Because it still blows my mind today. I have little things that I think was nothing but are big to me. Let me give you a prime example. When I was younger, I used to see people who had a house, and I used to see them riding around on their yard, and they would have this little green lawnmower. And I would see these men cutting that grass while I was only like 12, 13, 14, 15, right? And I would look at that green lawnmower and I would say, man, I don't know what it is, but I want one. And I figured out or found out that it was a John Deere lawnmower. Yesterday, when I was sitting in my yard and I was telling my wife, I said, I always wanted a John Deere lawnmower. I have one now, but I always wanted it when I was a kid because I saw other people riding it. But these little things like that, to some people, they might be, it's a lawnmower. It's no big deal. But it is a big deal to somebody who never experienced something because I spent all my time doing drugs and giving it to the drug dealer. It's a big deal to me. So some of the things that may not be a big deal to somebody else, when you make the minor adjustments and dedicate yourself to not going back, all those things that you probably dreamed about when you were younger can come to fruition. But the challenge is you must have endurance. When you're going through the process of change, you're going to have to endure through some difficult situations and some obstacles. But the distractions, remember, are not the battle. The battle is, can you stay focused despite the distractions? So I want to encourage you and let you know some of the things that you probably dreamt of. Some of the things can come to fruition in your life, and it's not too late. You might have less hair or less teeth, but I don't care. If you stay focused, you can still achieve some of the things in your life. I hope you understand that. I hope I'm encouraging somebody because I'm encouraging my own self. All right, let's look at some more here. Man, we moving. Did you ever think that you would have made it this far? Me, no. I didn't think that I was going to make it this far. Although I had dreams and visions of doing something in my life, I never thought I would make it this far. Now, this is a proverb, 23, verse 23. I want to point out these three words right here because when you're trying to endure through a process, these three things, excuse me, these three things are very important that you must have in your life. One, wisdom, instructions, and understanding. Watch this. Wisdom is the ability to discern your inner qualities. So when you have the wisdom, you're able to discern some inner qualities that you have. Instructions are a direction calling for compliance. So when you get instructions from the people at the Salvation Army or whatever rehabilitation you might be in, you get some instructions. The instructions is a direction calling for your compliance. So if you, watch this, if you're not compliant to the instructions that you are given by a superior, a counselor, a staff, and you're not complying to those instructions, it says nothing about the program. It says everything about you. And if you're not able to take instructions and comply to those instructions, then you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're going to repeat things in the bad sense, repeat things. So instructions is calling for you to comply. So you also have to have understanding. Understanding is the power of comprehending. When you have the power of comprehending, these three things are important when you're trying to endure through the process of change. Wisdom, instruction, and understanding. The power of comprehending. Why is understanding or the power of comprehending important? It's because if you do not have the power of comprehending, that if you leave a facility and go out there and keep tempting the drug, eventually you're going to overdose on the drug because your system is too pure to take anything. So if you don't have the power of comprehending that the substance that you used to do and had the tolerance for, you no longer have the tolerance now. And if you do the drugs, it's possible it'll take you out. That's understanding. That's the power of comprehending. And if you drinking, if you're alcoholic or you used to drink a lot and you think I'm going to go home, I'm going to just take me a little nip, I'm going to just get me a little, one of them little things. Listen. The power of comprehending is saying that that is not going to satisfy you, and you're going to take that little nip, and eventually you're going to increase it. This is understanding. When you have this right here, you are dangerous when you have the power of comprehending. I am more than confident to comprehend that Michael Mickey Williams Jr. cannot do any type of drugs. I can't negotiate and say, well, mine was crack and heroin, so I maybe can do cocaine sniffing it, not smoking it. I won't try to trick myself and say, well, you did crack and heroin, so just smoke weed and drink beer. No, I have understanding. The power of comprehending comes with your understanding. I hope you understand that. That's funny. I said, I hope you understand that. I didn't try that. I didn't try to do that. So these three things, let me read them again. One of them is wisdom, instructions, and understanding. Wisdom, instructions, and understanding. Do you learn and grow from your suffering? Learning and growing from your suffering is very important. When you learn and grow from your suffering, you're able to go far. Do you think you waste your energy? After he patiently endured, he obtained the promise. Do you think you waste your energy? Sometimes I think I wasted my energy on stuff that wasn't purposeful or kingdom purpose. Sometimes I think I waste my energy doing things that are for me, but not really for God. Sometimes we can waste our energy on things that are not fruitful for us. Do you think you waste your energy? Are you wasting your energy on things that are not beneficial for you and your family? So these questions in here are very personal. Do you think you waste your energy? And you need to put inside that line where you think you're wasting your energy on, right? Because if you find out what you're wasting your energy on, you're able to redirect that energy to something that's more beneficial or fruitful, if you will. I hope you get that. Let's see. I've gotten good, very good at scheduling my life. Watch this. At scheduling my life, preparing myself for knowing, saving the energy, consuming the energy, knowing when to go for it, and having the available reserve to be able to do that. You have to think about that because after all, it's endurance. Does anybody think that you didn't get what you wanted because you didn't have the talent or the strength or the commitment to get it? No, you lacked endurance. So a lot of the things that you didn't achieve in your life thus far that you can obtain going forward, because if you don't go back, you could have done it, but you lacked endurance. You wasn't able to endure through the difficult situations. But we don't have to worry about that anymore because you are in need of endurance. So we want to just come on here today, and we talked about our lesson is you must have endurance. Sometimes we beat ourselves up a lot because where we are. But if we don't go back from this forward, endurance, when we endure through the path or endure through the struggles, endure through the obstacles, we're able to embrace a lot more in our lives. And again, the thought for the day is, come what may, all bad fortunes is to be conquered by endurance. Again, this is just one part of this chapter of you must have endurance. In the book, there's another part to this particular chapter, but I never do both parts virtually. I want you to go to that next part and you look in that next part, revisit the part we covered. However, go to part 2 and do that part for yourself, and you'll get even more out of everything what we said today dealing with you must have endurance. Again, I want to get the lesson I'm gonna get the link because you can take the minor adjustments facilitators course online. And when you take the course online, you will get a certified certificate about being a minor adjustments facilitator. I want to get you that course. Let me look up the course real quick so I can pass the link to you. And that way you'll be able to check it out. And just even if you don't check it out, share it with one of your colleagues or somebody that you know that might be interested in the minor adjustments facilitators course. It would be a great thing for a lot of individuals to be able to teach the minor adjustments program at some type of facility. Let me put it in the link in the comment section for those who tune in now or who might tune in later. Again, my name is Michael Mickey Williams Jr., and Minor Adjustments is dedicated to preventing and reducing crime. Our primary purpose is to spread the Minor Adjustments is dedicated to preventing and reducing crime. Our primary purpose is to teach men and women how to make the minor adjustments that are necessary in their lives, which will allow them to obtain and maintain a productive lifestyle after incarceration and or rehabilitation. Our motto is anywhere but backwards. Again, make sure you tune in every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and Minor Adjustments motto is anywhere but backwards. God bless y'all. Have a great day.